106.7 WIZN, it's Rat with Round and Round. Heard Bachman Turner Overdrive before that. I'm Joe Vega here with you on your Wednesday Rockin' Ride Home. And I've got Paul Harding on the phone right now from Martin Harding and Mazzotti. Hello, Paul.
Hey, Joe. How are you?
I am well. So today we're talking taxation without representation.
Yes.
The possibility of the District of Columbia becoming the 51st state.
Yeah, it's been out there for a long time. You know, this conversation feels like it's been there. Growing up, I'm trying to figure out what the District of Columbia was. I remember as a kid, watching like Miss America or something, and I was like, what? There's 51 of these, and trying to figure out what that's about. But, yeah, we've got, it's a highly politicized issue.
Right.
If it were to become a state, it wouldn't be the smallest state. Vermont and Montana are smaller than the District of Columbia, but it would give 2 Senate seats and probably 1 congressional seat. So you can imagine there are forces that are supporting it and forces that are aggressively opposing it.
Right. It seems to be a largely partisan issue right now.
The real argument comes down to this, is that somewhere in that Constitution it says that a 10 square blocks of where the Capitol is makes up this Washington, D.C. Now, Washington, D.C. is much larger than that, but that was the initial intent. So they're saying, look, we just can't vote this to be a state. There has to be a constitutional amendment, which is nearly impossible to get, right? So if the hope is they're going to wait for a constitutional amendment, probably never going to happen. If the next elections, there's a sweeping change and one party dominates the landscape, then maybe it could be voted in. But then, of course, the courts are the ones who are going to decide, ultimately the Supreme Court, decide whether it needs a constitutional amendment or just a vote of the legislature. It was more ceremonial to say, hey, guys, this is still alive and well. Since 1993, there's been a bill circulating. It never really, it's made it to the House floor a couple times, might have passed a couple times, but never had any true momentum. It is something that appears to be going to highlight, not going to go away. And if next year's elections, were to sway with one party dominating, then we're going to see it again. And then we're going to see the Supreme Court deciding if that's the appropriate way to create another state. Then we're going to see a lot of flags that are wrong.
I know. I was just going to say, it's unfortunate news for the flag makers if it doesn't actually happen.
And how do you design it? It lines up so perfectly with 50. Right? Where does the one go? Is it going to be in the box or outside the box?
The OCD person in me says, no, we can't do that. It'll make the flag look weird.
We got to go to 52. Maybe we can break Maine in half.
I know some people in Maine that would totally support that. All right. Thanks a lot, Paul.
Okay. Talk soon, Joey. Bye.
Paul Harding from Martin Harding and Mazzotti. Of course, you could call them at any time at 1-800-LAW-1010 or go online to 1-800-LAW-1010.com. Mel Allen's taking over. He's got music from The Who and The Cars coming up next.